Imagine living in a stylish apartment in Vienna, right in the city centre. Cafes and art galleries and history just outside your doorstep. Anywhere in Europe is just a 2-hour flight away. Here's the truth, you don't need 10 plus investment properties to live this sort of lifestyle. One great commercial deal can completely fund it all. And today I'm going to show you how this warehouse in Western Australia generates 80,000 a year in passive income, which is enough to pay for this entire life in Vienna. I'm James Hawthorne and I research commercial property deals to see what sort of lifestyle they can actually fund. Today we're going to break down the numbers and the strategy behind this one deal and how this commercial property can outperform 10 plus residential properties. So let's get into it. Now let's get into analysing the property that's actually going to fund our financial freedom. So I found this warehouse in Western Australia, not far from the Perth CBD. And if we look at the property, it's on a pretty big corner lot. So you've got front access, lots of car parks down the front and down the side. It's a pretty big warehouse. So it's got the main warehouse here and a little office space out the front. So as you can see, the Perth CBD is not far away and it's on the corner. You've got lots of side access, front access. It's a good corner block. You can see, however, though, in the area there are a lot of industrial properties. So that can be a kind of a risk you're taking when buying this property. Is there's a bigger supply of commercial property in the area, which, if there's a more supply but a fixed demand, prices are going to go down. So you've got to take that in mind, is checking your vacancy rates in the area, understanding what sort of supply is on the market and what sort of demand there is for the actual property itself. Because if there's a fixed supply but there is a large supply but there's a high demand, the property prices are going to keep going up if more people want the property. So as you can see, it's got shipping containers out the back, a lot of car parks down the side, and the majority of on the other side of where the property is, there's lots of houses. So they're not going to be knocking down houses to build warehouses, right? So there's probably a fixed supply of warehouses in the area, which is a good sign that you're going to be probably rezoning these warehouses into residential to knock them down and build houses. So pretty big lot, got car parks, plenty of storage space as well. Not bad location, not far from the Perth CBD. As you can see, a lot of equipment, so it's already fitted out by the tenant, which is a good thing. It's going to be really expensive to move all the infrastructure and the equipment that they've got in the facilities. Look at all those shelving units that they're going to have to dismantle, and move to another building if they want to move out of this building. So you probably got a sticky tenant because they've got the whole place fitted out. So it's a good property. Probably if we look at the current tenant, it's a 3-year lease. It's bringing in 335,000 a year in income, and that's net income. So the tenant's going to be paying most of the outgoings, and it's got a 3-year lease, and it's a pretty big land size as well. It's got a little office space, and it's in a prime location, not far from the Perth CBD. So now let's analyze what sort of passive income this property is going to be generating. So if you look at our cash flow snapshot, we've got the purchase price of 5.6 million for this warehouse using a 30% deposit, and that net income of $335,000 a year. It's got about a 6% yield at the moment, and using a 6.5% interest rates, the rent's 335, the interest repayments, just interest only, at 250,000 a year. So you're going to be left with 80,000 a year in passive income. Pretty good. That's the average Australian salary just going to be generating this one passive commercial property. And if you look at the cash flow snapshot, it's not until we get to 9% interest rates does the property start to become negatively geared. So you've got a bit of a buffer in place going from 6.5% up to 9%. But if the property's interest rates go down to 3%, you're going to be positively geared over 200,000 a year just from this one property. So that's a big difference interest rates can make on how much cash flow you're generating from this one property. If we look at our property paydown calculator, same purchase price, deposit, same yield, using a 4% rental increase each year. And if we use the actual cash flow to pay down the debt each year, so the first year we're going to have that 80,000 a year in passive income. By year 5, you're going to be generating 165,000 a year in passive income. By year 10, you're going to be generating 323,000 a year in passive income. By year 14, the property is completely paid off, debt-free, and generating over 500,000 a year in passive income. That's just from this one property. It's pretty amazing what commercial property can do in terms of the compounding effect of the rental increases and paying down the debt. So, $500,000 a year, it's going to be a 10% yield on purchase from this one property. Now let's go see what sort of lifestyle can actually live based off the cash flow from this one property. So for balling on a budget, I decided to go to Vienna. You've got that budget of $80,000 a year, and I found two really nice Airbnbs that you can rent out monthly. So the first one is $4,500 a month, which ends up being $50,000 a year, $54,000 a year. The second one, just a bit more expensive, $4,800 a month, but it's going to be costing you $58,000 a year. So they both fit within our budget. They give you room to, afford flights, afford food, afford, basic living expenses as well. So they're pretty affordable. Now let's go see it, the first property. So I found this really nice luxury apartment. It's a 1 bed, 1 bath, really nicely furnished, and it's got views of the whole city. So you can see it's got that modern luxury kind of fit out and design. It's pretty minimalistic and simple, but it's got, great furniture, a nice bedroom with nice windows. Probably get a bit cold with having the window there. It's a really nice design, huge bathroom, plenty of space and storage, and you can see it's kind of that loft feel. So you've got views of the whole city as well. You can see the whole city. That's the main road in Vienna that goes down the whole of the main city. It's a nice apartment, got car spots as well. So it's a really nice modern apartment, 4,500 Aussie dollars a month, which is a pretty good price, especially when you're heart of Vienna as well. And if we look at the location, so it's on the other side. So the main city of Vienna is here. It's only a short, train ride across the bridge. So it's a pretty good location, not far from the city. You've got the mountain ranges up here. You can go for a day hike up there. It's a lot of amenities, and it's an amazing city. It's in a good location, and it's affordable, and it's a luxury apartment, and it fits within our $80,000 a year budget. Now let's go look at the other option you have. So the other apartment is a rooftop apartment, and it rents out for $4,800 a month. So a bit more expensive, but it's got a bit more space. As you can see, the living room's a lot bigger. You've got a big kitchen as well where you can do cooking, plenty of utilities as well, bigger bedroom, a nice view of the city. You can probably get there. Bathroom's not as nice, a bit smaller, but you've got this balcony area where you've got views of the city. You got park areas not far, so it's not as styled nicely, but it's still 1 bedroom, 2 beds, 1 bath. If we look at where it is in the location wise, so it is not far from the city in Vienna, so probably 15 minutes on the tram to the middle of the city. So the other place was on the other side of the river, so it's a bit closer to the city, easier to get to with public transport. But you're in the prime location, everything you need, 2 hours away from anywhere in Europe. If we go back, both of them fit within our budget of $80,000 a year. They're providing luxury apartments not far from the city in Valencia. You're not far from the airport, and you're 2 hours away from anywhere in Europe. And this lifestyle is completely funded just by one commercial property. Passive income is generating, and within 14 years, I think it's completely paid off, generating over $500,000 a year in passive income just from this one property. That's the power of commercial real estate. Now that's the Vienna lifestyle completely funded just by a warehouse in Western Australia. Now if you like these sorts of videos, go watch my last video where I show you exactly how commercial property can completely fund a luxury apartment in the middle of Valencia. So go watch that next, and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out.